Hi, this is Akshay Shrimanker, CEO and founder of Shay CPA. We help early stage tech founders with their tax compliance and accounting. And I thought I'd record this video to talk about how we as a CPA firm have used video, and particularly this application that I'm using to record the video called Loom, to transform our practice. So I'm going to talk through a couple of ways we've used it, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic, that has saved us time and at the same time provided a tremendous amount of value to our clients. So first of all, just to talk about Loom, Loom is a screen recording software. So exactly what I'm doing here, I have my image here on the screen, which is recording me as I speak, and you can also share your desktop. So you can show an Excel file, you could show your a website, you could show anything really, and talk over it, right? So for us as accountants, what I find tremendous value in is walking through financial statements or talking through a tax return. Also, I have staff on my team, right? So communicating with my staff. We could set up a call, and very often we do use applications like Zoom and Google Hangouts and Microsoft Teams to discuss with our clients, or if I need to speak to a team member, it's sometimes quicker to just, you may be saying, why not just record? Why not just set up a meeting and do that, right? Well, what Loom is it's asynchronous communication. So what asynchronous communication is, what it means is that you record a video and your client or your staff member, they watch it in their own time. And actually, one of the cool things on Loom is that you can actually speed this video up, or you could slow it down. So if you need more time to understand what's going on, you can pause, you can play. So for CPAs, for us, because we're going over some heavy topics, especially when going over numbers, talking about very abstract things. For us, it's second nature, but for our clients, it's very abstract, right? So sometimes when you go over it on a call, something may go over their head. They may they may not catch the entire thing. So the advantage of recording a video and going over a complex topic such as financials, or walking through a balance sheet, or walking through an income statement or a P&L for a month, it provides a tremendous amount of value. And just for example, so I'm just going to bring a tab up here, right? So this is a blank 1040. Now let's just pretend like we filled this out, right? So one of the things that when I was recording a video for our clients this past tax season, when I would walk through the 1040, is I would walk through it and I say, hey, we have your name here, your address, your last name. Please confirm that the numbers in your SSN look correct. Please confirm that there's been no changes to your address. And then we walk through the tax return, right? We walk through and say, okay, this is the income that we have from such and such W-2s. We can walk through the other income they have, dividends, interest, pensions, IRAs, etc., right? And what I was finding the last few years, and this is where like a light bulb sort of switched in me, is that very often that was missed, meaning we would prepare the tax return and the client very often would just assume that everything on the tax return is correct, or they would just say, the CPA knows what they're doing, just send it over to me, let me sign it. They would want to skip the call, they would want to skip the meeting. So another advantage of Loom as a tool is that when you're doing asynchronous communication, you're recording a video, you're walking through the 1040, you're going over salient points, you can point out planning opportunities, right? You can see things that may be an opportunity for the client to save money next year or think about for their future, such as, have you thought about going into opening up an IRA? You're in a lower income tax bracket this year. How about rolling over an IRA, etc. So there's these little things that sometimes get missed in communication, and that's because clients sometimes take us for granted, right? They assume we're doing everything correctly, or they assume they know everything, and that we're going to let them know. And they, after a few years, what I find is that they don't no longer want to get on a call. They may just send you your the tax documents, which the technology has made so easy to do now, right? They either email them through a secure client portal, or they may, send it in the mail, and they just get a tax return on the other end, right? Which they sign, and it gets submitted electronically. And what's missing there is you're missing essentially, right? Because what's the difference between them just sending that to anybody and them sending it to you at that point? I mean, there's not much difference, right? If I mean, it's not even too different from what TurboTax does at that point, right? So how can you differentiate yourself? And by recording these videos is a big opportunity to differentiate yourself, because it puts the power back in your hands, right? As you're walking through the tax return and talking through it, and it doesn't have to be a long video. It could be 2 to 3 minutes long, right? This video I'm recording now has gone up to 6 minutes, but it could be a short video to go over the salient points, right? And I know a lot of people have also issues with privacy, and is this secure? These videos can be password protected, so that's a great feature. And this company is constantly updating its software and updating its security protocol. So I think they are doing a good job on that end of it. I haven't had any breaches where someone's been able to come in through the video. And even in that case, sometimes what you can do is mask certain data on a tax return, mask certain sensitive information, right? So social security numbers, things like that, which you don't want to necessarily show on screen. So being prudent with that, I think, is as CPAs, we are very conservative most of the time. So that is something that we should be practicing. But at the same time, we should also take advantage of the technology. And this is one where I think CPAs have an opportunity to take advantage of a tool which it can't be replicated, meaning you are unique as a CPA, right? So your experience, the reason the client came to you, right, was because they believe that you could help solve a problem, right? Whether that's preparing a tax return, preparing a financial statement audit, being a virtual CFO, helping them set up QuickBooks. But what's happening over the past few years with technology is that more and more there are other services that are sort of taking a cut into a lot of what we do as practitioners. And the advisory aspect of what we do doesn't shine through. That at least that's what I'm starting to see, because the technology is sort of taking the place of that in some cases. So this is now an opportunity where you can spend time to record a short video and really deliver value, because in that 3 or 4 minute video you can you may be able to save this person thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, etc., right? And give them insight into why they hired you in the first place. So this is one example. So the tax return, here we have like a sample P&L, right? So this is another one where if you're talking through QuickBooks financial statements, you can go through a P&L and say, okay, this month, for this 5 months, the sales were 100K, the gross profit was 25,000, and if you analyze that compared to prior periods, you can say, hey, the gross profit's going up or down, have the supplier costs gone up, what can we do? Maybe we need to revisit pricing. So you see, you just by going over financial statements and talking about them, you can deliver value. And sometimes what ends up happening is, I know you want to set up the Zoom call, and you may want to do that over Zoom, and the Zoom call never comes, or like the client is so busy that they don't have time. If you record a video, it's actually also showing the client that you respect their time, because you're going over the numbers, you're recording a video, and they can watch it at their leisure, right? So maybe 9 to 5, which is the time that many CPAs, accountants work, isn't a good time for them. Maybe they're very busy at that time, and they want to go over this stuff late at night, after everyone's sleeping, and they have time to themselves. So these videos also aid in that aspect, right? Because people are on different schedules, different time, different commitments during the day versus in the night. So you preparing a video to go over financial statements is a great tool. And what I find is, as we've been doing this entire pandemic and up until now in November, is that even if we record a video and go over the financial statements, when we actually do get on the call with the client and we go over a Zoom conference, that's when some really, something that we may have pointed out in the video becomes the topic for that entire call, right? So now what that's done is that's eliminated you having to go over every single point that you would have if you had done a call, and focus the attention into specific details, right? So maybe this month COGS was the big thing, or maybe it was advertising expenses, whatever it was on the financial statement that is cause for concern or cause to explore more with the client. That's going to be the emphasis of the call, right? So so I think these videos really help put the power back in the CPA's hand. It puts you front and center as the advisor, and it also gives you the opportunity to say certain things that you may not necessarily say if you were to speak to the client. And I deal with this myself, right? So sometimes you get on a call with a client, the client is very dominant, or they kind of take over the entire conversation, so you can't even get a word in edgeways. They want to get through all their questions, and by the time they even get to you, they say, hey, sorry, I have to get on another call, or the baby's crying, or something else is going on, right? So sometimes CPAs are well-intentioned in that when we do set up time to work with our clients, that we already have a plan in place of what we want to go over, but because of the attention span of the client, or because of things going on with the client's personality traits, those things don't get communicated and they get lost. So another advantage of recording videos and communicating these concepts is that it's a one-way communication, so nothing really gets lost. You get to say everything that you need to say about those financials, and then you guys can do the two-way conversation at a later time to go over specifics, right? But this gives you the opportunity to go over the stuff that you find important, and that you thought of. And sometimes when we're on calls, they go off on tangents, right? I get on Zoom calls and they go off on, they start off on target and they can quickly go off on a tangent, right? And even calls that have an agenda can go off on a tangent. Because there's another fire to put out, right? There's always fires that need to be put out. So these are two examples I thought of as a beginning step, right? The other place which I mentioned earlier was recording videos to communicate with staff. So this is another great one that I think has been excellent for our firm. So let's say this financial statement was prepared by a staff member, right? So I'm looking through the financials and I see, hey, Johnny, the COGS this month looks too high. Can you check our records and the invoices to make sure that this is correct? Or hey, I looked at the advertising GL detail, and there was a payment made for computer equipment. I think the advertising expenses look wrong, incorrect, right? So I use the videos to communicate with staff as well, because I go through, for instance, if I'm reviewing a P&L, I may go through the P&L, look at the detail in QuickBooks, and say, hey, shift this here, move this there. This doesn't look quite right. Look at the trends here. There's something that might be off. So as a review tool, I feel this medium is excellent. Also for tax return, same thing. So if I'm going over a tax return, and I usually put down my notes, but then I also record a short video to go over, okay, oh, I think we're missing a W-2 here. Last year they had some interest from Bank of America. I don't see it on the Schedule B this year. The Schedule C has 5 1099s. I think we're missing another 1099. The home office expense isn't recorded correctly. Check the square footage. I didn't see the backup for that. So you see, but just going over a 1040, you can provide a tremendous amount of value just by discussing and talking through the points with the 1040. Like 11, even on our firm, we help tech companies, so we primarily work on 1120 C corporation returns, and I do the same thing. Can go over. I may make a page of notes of changes that my staff need to make to the return, and then I record a short video to sort of summarize, like, okay, these are all the things I saw. And it kind of goes, I mean, this is not new technology, right? If you think about it, this is basically the same technology that attorneys use, right? They use those audio recorders you may have seen in like in like LA Law or something, some old TV shows, like where they record and then they dictate. So this is exactly what we're doing, right? Now we also have the desktop in front of us as well. So we're dictating, and we're talking through like changes. So for us, this has been a game changer. So some of you may be already doing that, right? And this is just a new medium or a new way to do it. And I find it is tremendously valuable. So yeah, I think those were the main points I wanted to go over. And the last thing I'll just say is we speak faster than we type, right? So that's another big value of this, is that in the time that it took me to record this video, I know it's going a little long now, over 17 minutes. If I had typed it out, it would be a tremendously long email or a tremendously long document, right? So we are we are extremely good at speaking things quicker than we type. So that's another reason why this tool is really effective, because you can get through. You could talk through a lot of your points. And I actually also use this tool to respond to emails, right? A client can send you a complex email. Hey, I'm thinking about expanding operations here. What do I need to do? And you can either respond to them in the email and type out all the things they need to do. Oh, you need to, register for the Department of Labor, and you need to do this and that. Or you could do a short video, and then that again communicates value, right? Because they see like, wow, my CPA is recording a video to communicate with me, and they must really care. And I think that's what this is really about. This is about establishing the human connection with your clients, with your staff members, and the people we work with, especially during COVID when we don't have as much in-person connection. So I hope these tips are valuable, and if you have any questions, reach out.